All right, so today we're diving deep into the world of Francis Ngannou.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
I've been looking forward to this one.
He's a guy who, well, let's just say people have some strong opinions.
Yeah, love him or hate him, he's definitely made a splash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is he a visionary leader for a better future or just playing the game for his own benefit?
A lot to unpack there.
For sure, and we've got a ton of material to work through.
Oh, yeah.
Wikipedia entries, in-depth profiles, and even...
Some of those TalkSport commentators did not hold back.
Yeah, they did not. So we're going to try to answer that big question today. Is Francis Ngannou a grifter or is he gifted?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is, and his story is such a fascinating mix of charisma and controversy.
Absolutely. It makes it hard to figure out, what are his real goals here?
Totally. And you can't talk about Ngannou without starting with his journey.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's incredible. They got a childhood in Cameroon,
Yeah.
extreme poverty.
We're not talking just like, oh, times were tough.
No.
This is starting work in sand mines at 10 years old just to survive.
Yeah, and for Ngannou, it wasn't just a job, right?
No, it really messed with his sense of self-worth, like he wasn't valued.
And you can see how that fueled this drive in him to prove everyone wrong.
Like a fire in his belly.
It's amazing he held on to any hope at all in those circumstances.
Right.
He even said, I always felt like I missed my childhood.
Wow.
You can just hear how those experiences still affect him.
You can, and that deep frustration, it fueled this unbelievable journey.
Because he doesn't stay there.
No, at 26, he leaves. Cameroon starts this dangerous trip across continents.
Detention, sleeping in parking lots, barely any food.
Even spent time in a Spanish jail.
Talk about resilience.
Seriously, eh?
That's mind-blowing. And then he arrives in Paris alone. Homeless. No support.
But that dream never died.
No, it didn't.
Remember at first Ngannou wanted to be a boxer like his idol, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, and he even told Tyson that being homeless in France felt like heaven compared to what he'd been through.
Wow, talk about perspective.
Yeah, right. But his boxing dreams took a detour.
Here's where things get interesting.
So he goes to this boxing gym, but it's closed.
Oh, no.
But luckily, he meets Fernand Lopez, an MMA coach who says, hey, you should try this MMA thing.
Fate intervened.
Right, and it's a game changer.
It really is. And Ngannou's just got this raw power, natural athleticism.
And he rises through the ranks fast.
Fans are going wild for his knockouts.
Yeah, brutal knockout power.
Then in 2021, he becomes UFC heavyweight champion.
Beats Stipe Miocic in the rematch.
Storybook ending right.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But this is where it all changes.
Things get complicated.
Because Ngannou's time in the UFC wasn't just about winning fights.
Oh, no. He starts speaking out about fighter pay healthcare sponsorship rights.
Doesn't hold back. He says, I will not fight for $500,000 anymore.
Directly challenging Dana White and the whole UFC power structure.
Yep. Some people loved it, thought it was brave. Others said he was ungrateful, money hungry.
It was a huge controversy.
He really was. And Dana White even claims he offered Ngannou more money than he could have made in boxing.
But Ngannou wasn't buying it.
Nope. It turned into this very public, very messy fight.
Accusations flying everywhere.
And Ngannou's saying it's not just about the money.
It's about principle.
Exactly. He felt the UFC's contracts were taking away his freedom.
He literally said in that contract, I'm not free. I need to feel like a man, own my freedom, control my destiny.
Powerful words.
They were, and it leads to him leaving the UFC.
As the reigning champion, which almost never happens.
Unprecedented, really. So was he standing up for himself and other fighters?
Or was he just trying to get a bigger paycheck somewhere else?
It's tough to say.
Well, that's where things get even more interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
Ngannou signs this big deal with the Professional Fighters League, the PFL.
The PFL, okay.
Reportedly making him way more than he ever made in the UFC.
So at first glance, it seems like Dana White was right.
Like, Ngannou's was all about the money.
Yeah, but there's more to it than that.
There is, because the PFL deal was different.
How so?
It let Ngannou pursue boxing matches, which the UFC would never allow.
Ah, so we're back to that childhood dream.
Following in the footsteps of Mike Tyson.
Which leads us to
his huge boxing debut against Tyson Fury in October 2023.
Clash of the Titans everyone was watching.
And even though he lost by decision, he still made a reported $10 million.
Seriously?
Yeah, which is supposedly more than all his UFC earnings combined.
That's insane. $10 million for one fight.
Even Conor McGregor bet $500,000 on Ngannou.
And lost big time when Fury won.
But for Ngannou, it wasn't just about the money or the spectacle.
There was something deeper going on.
Yeah, this fight meant a lot to him personally.
How come?
He dedicated it to his son Kobe, who had died earlier that year.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it was a really emotional tribute. He said, I wanted to fight for him. I hope they can remember his name, because without Kobe, we wouldn't be here tonight. I wouldn't have fought.
That adds a whole other layer to Ngannou's story.
It does, driven by ambition, but also dealing with this huge personal loss.
So where does that leave us with this whole grifter versus gifted question?
It's tricky. There are definitely conflicting stories about him.
Some see him as this selfless leader fighting for change. Others see him as a sharp businessman looking out for number one.
And his story's full of these contradictions.
Like what?
He's deeply spiritual, embraces all religions, but he's also this fierce competitor who knows his own worth.
It's that mix that makes him so interesting.
Exactly. He embodies this paradox of humility and ambition.
From feeling worthless in those sand mines to demanding respect on the world stage.
And even with all his success, he's still pushing boundaries, challenging conventions.
He's definitely a man of action, always trying to improve his life and the lives of those around him.
Like opening that gym in Cameroon, giving opportunities to young fighters.
That's awesome.
And then you've got his physical feats.
Oh yeah, breaking records with his grip strength.
Stronger than both the current PFL heavyweight champion and the former UFC lightweight champion.
People were shocked.
Others knew what he was capable of.
It just shows his dedication to constantly improving.
Proving he can achieve anything he sets his mind to.
Which brings us back to that self-belief.
Remember that quote, "We don't have control over what will happen. But what I do know is that I will overcome it."
Powerful stuff.
It really is. And it makes you wonder, is self-belief something that visionaries and con artists both have?
That's a good question. Can it be used for good and for manipulation?
Exactly. Because Ngannou's belief in himself has taken him from obscurity to superstardom.
And the story's not over yet. He's only 37.
He's already conquered. MMA made his mark in boxing. What's next for the Predator?
Well, Turki Al-Sheikh, the chairman of Skill Challenge Entertainment, recently hinted at some interesting possibilities.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said they're discussing two options for Francis, one in MMA and one in boxing.
Intriguing. And when asked at the MMA option, he wouldn't say whether it involved a fight with John Jones.
Well, current UFC heavyweight champion.
So could we see Ngannou back in the UFC?
A super fight with Jones? Or will he keep going his own way in boxing or other organizations?
Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure.
What's that?
Francis Ngannou is a force to be reckoned with.
No doubt about it.
And his story is far from over.
Definitely not. We'll have to wait and see what happens next.
Exactly. All right, so that wraps up part one of our deep dive on Francis Ngannou.
Man, what a story.
I know, right? It's crazy.
We've covered a lot of ground, from his tough childhood to becoming a champion and then all the drama with the UFC.
And we can't forget that incredible boxing debut against Tyson Fury.
$10 million.
It's mind-blowing, but it's clear Ngannou's not just about the money.
No, there's this deeper drive, this desire for freedom and control.
And that unshakable self-belief that's taken him so far.
It really makes you think about what's possible when you believe in yourself and fight for what you want.
Absolutely. So the question remains, is he a grifter or is he gifted?
It's not an easy answer.
No, it's not. We'll have to dig deeper into his motivations and actions in part two.
Can't wait.
Me neither. Stay tuned.
It really is a tough one to answer.
And as we wrap up this deep dive,
Right?
we're left with this thought-provoking question.
Yeah. What will Ngannou's legacy actually be?
Will he be remembered as this fighter for change, a smart businessman, or maybe even both?
Or could it be something bigger than that?
Something beyond the belts and the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe his story inspires others to break free, you know?
To overcome huge challenges and reach their own kind of greatness.
That's powerful stuff.
It really is. It makes you think about the influence of just one person.
How they can challenge the system and start a whole movement.
And that's where this whole grifter versus gifted thing gets blurry.
Because true visionaries, they convince people to believe in their vision even when it seems impossible.
Right. They push those boundaries, create new opportunities.
And Ngannou seems to have that ability.
He definitely does. He brought fighters together, started a huge conversation about how much fighters get paid.
A conversation that's still going on today.
And he walked away from the UFC, a massive organization.
And still found success on his own terms.
It's pretty amazing. It shows his charisma, his authenticity.
His willingness to stand up for what he believes in.
Exactly. And even if people question his reasons.
You can't deny the impact he's had on combat sports.
And beyond.
Absolutely. He's a walking contradiction, a
Yeah,
puzzle.
you can't easily put him in a box.
He's got the humility from his past, but also this burning ambition that got him to the top.
It's what makes his story so captivating.
It reminds us that people are complicated.
Capable of amazing things, and maybe not so amazing things.
So as we leave you with this question of grifter or gifted,
There's one thing we want to emphasize.
what's that?
Francis Ngannou's story isn't just about winning fights.
It's so much more than that.
It's about never giving up believing in yourself, going after your dream no matter what.
From those sand mines in Cameroon to the bright lights of Vegas and Saudi Arabia.
From feeling worthless to becoming a global icon.
It speaks to the potential that's inside all of us.
It's a powerful message about the human spirit,
Our ability to rise above anything and chase those dreams.
no matter how hard it seems.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Francis Ngannou's world,
We're left with more than just that question of grifter or gifted.
we're left with a challenge.
What kind of challenge?
To look deeper than the surface.
Okay.
To understand that people are complex and even the most controversial figures.
They're not always easy to define.
Right. They're not all good or all bad.
It's about recognizing their impact, what they've done, and what we can learn from their journey.
The good and the bad.
Because in the end, it's not about calling someone a hero or a villain.
It's about seeing the whole picture.
Francis Ngannou's story is about resilience, ambition, fighting for what you want.
Whether you love him, hate him, or somewhere in between.
You can't deny the impact he's had.
On combat sports and beyond.
His story will keep inspiring debate for years to come.
And that alone shows just how extraordinary his journey has been.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it?
It really is.
That even with all his strength, his story's about so much more than just fighting in the ring.
It really is about overcoming so much more.
Yeah, and that's a message for everyone. From those sand mines all the way to the bright lights of Vegas and Saudi Arabia.
Unbelievable journey.
From feeling like he had no worth to becoming this global icon.
It shows what we're all capable of.
It's about the human spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that ability to rise above everything and chase your dreams.
No matter how impossible they seem.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive into Francis Ngannou,
It's more than just figuring out if he's a grifter or gifted.
it's a challenge for all of us.
To look beyond what we see on the surface.
Okay, to really try to understand people.
Because people are complicated, right?
They are.
Mm.
And even the most controversial figures.
Sometimes you just can't put them in a neat little box.
Nope. It's about understanding the impact they've had, the things they've done, and what we can learn from them.
The good stuff and the bad stuff.
Because at the end of the day, it's not about labeling someone a hero or a villain.
Exactly.
It's about seeing the whole picture.
And Francis Ngannou's story is about resilience, ambition, and fighting for what you believe in.
Love him or hate him,
Yeah.
you can't deny the impact he's had.
On combat sports and so much more.
His story will keep people talking for years to come.
And that alone shows just how powerful his journey has been.
So there you have it, folks.
Another deep dive in the books.
We hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking.
And maybe even inspiring.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep
Right.
diving deep.
See you next time, everyone.